Middlesbrough Football Club have made a signing. This is not a drill. I shit you not. This is absolutely true, 100%. It's not fake. It's not AI. It is true. It has happened. Middlesbrough Football Club have made a signing. Unbelievable. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and yes, you might have to rewind just to double check that is true. I'm not making it up. Middlesbrough have finally, on Friday the 25th of July, just over 2 weeks out from the championship season, made their first official signing of the summer window. Absolutely bonkers. But Alfie Jones has joined from Hull City, a move that has been rumoured for a while. We knew it was making steady progress, but at the moment with Middlesbrough, you just never quite know how much progress really is progress and how quickly things might go quiet, fall through, or just not happen. So to see this drop today was a nice surprise. It was a relief more than anything, and it is good to see that Boro do have money. We do have the ability to sign players. All the myths and the speculation and the conspiracy theories that have arose over recent weeks, not because the fans are stupid, just because the fans are in the dark and the fans are desperate for answers and reasons as to why we've been so inactive. This puts a lot of them to bed. Boro do have money. We are capable of signing players. I guess the big question is why it just took this long to actually sign the first one, but we're off the mark now. We're actually on the board with the signing. Here's hoping it's the first of many and maybe a flurry of more to come. But this is what was said on the Northern Echo in regards to the signing before we take a deeper look into him and give our thoughts. But Scott Wilson of the Northern Echo did say this. Middlesbrough have completed their first signing of the summer with centre-back Alfie Jones joining from Hull City. He signed a 4-year deal at the Riverside and joins Boro in a deal that is worth around £3 million. However, the initial upfront fee that Boro have agreed to pay Hull is understood to be lower than that figure, so maybe £2 million, give or take. The 27-year-old is the first player to have joined Boro since Rob Edwards was installed as the head coach last month and will bolster a central defence unit that has become depleted when Matt Clark left to join Derby in January. Johnny Howson, who had previously been an option at centre-half, also left the club when his contract expired at the end of last season. Jones has been one of the standout central defenders in the Championship in the last few seasons with Hull, having moved to Humberside in the summer of 2020. He made more than 40 appearances in each of the last 3 seasons and racked up almost 200 senior outings for the Tigers. A former academy product at Southampton, Jones had loan spells at St Mirren and Gillingham before joining Hull 5 years ago. He talks of the club saying, "I'm absolutely buzzing to be here and ready to get to work." Jones is expected to be present at Ibrox tomorrow as Boro continue their pre-season preparation with, of course, the game against Rangers. He goes on to say, "The size of the club speaks for itself. Everything about it makes it such an attractive place to be, and I'm delighted to be a part of it now. The ambitions of the club align with mine, and it feels like the perfect fit for me." Boro are hoping to make further progress on the transfer front in the next couple of days with talks over the Troyes midfielder. Having reached an advanced stage, Boro are hoping to get that deal done, of course. It says the Teessiders are set to pay a fee of around €3 million for the Ivorian 20-year-old who impressed with Troyes in the French second tier last season. A deal for him is close to being finalised, with the midfielder having been given the green light for a switch to the Riverside. Interestingly, it finishes with this: while talks over Callum Britton have been shelved over the last few days, there is still a chance Boro could rekindle their interest in the 27-year-old who has entered the final year of his contract. He would park that one, I do think, will go down to the wire. This was something that was put together by my good friend Johnny at the Boro Breakdown. I do want to point you in the direction of the Boro Breakdown podcast because, of course, yep, I know I'm on there and I'm biased, of course I am, but the Breakdown do hands down the best lowdown videos when it comes to breaking down the strengths and weaknesses of a brand new transfer at Middlesbrough Football Club. So I strongly suggest you guys go and subscribe to the Boro Breakdown. This is something that Johnny put together. Alfie Jones will bring maturity, physicality and consistency to Boro's back line, albeit he's not a high ceiling or flashy player. He's effective in ground duels, comfortable on the ball, very vocal, and doesn't make many individual errors. However, if Boro were to opt towards a high line and press, this could lead to Alfie being exposed due to his lack of pace. He questions if he's a Rav replacement and says Alfie is more comparable to Edmondson and Fry versus Rav. He's a ready-made player who is physical and fairly complete as a player and will add further experience to Boro's back line. With Rav leaving, Boro may be opting for completeness over potential at the back. My recommendation would be to identify a more comfortable ball-playing defender, which would help in the build-up. So yes, overall, there's been a lot said of this signing in the weeks that it has been rumoured. Of course, in typical Boro fashion, even though fans were kicking off one week that we'd not signed anybody, they were then also kicking off that Alfie Jones was this, that and the other. You can't really win with Boro fans sometimes, but for me, I think this is a decent signing. I do. I think the fact that he has played 40 games in the last couple of seasons consistently for Hull is a very, very big plus. The one big issue Boro have had, of course, is availability, is fitness. How many of our centre-backs over recent years and seasons have just failed to stay in the team and stay fit? You know, I've always said I wanted a centre-back pairing or a back three or whatever it is who you can rely on being around for at least 30 to 35 games a season. And Alfie Jones looks like he will tick off that list. He'll be a big, big tick on that, and he'll be perfect for hopefully availability and therefore consistency. So that's a big plus for me. Of course, I have just been asking in general for Boro to look at building from the back more so this season than previously. One of my criticisms of Michael Carrick's Boro was that we basically neglected the back, as it was alluded to in the Echoes article. You know, we let Matt Clark go in January and almost left the defence to rot after that, with a number of centre-halves who couldn't keep fit between them, you know, relying on Lenihan and to be fit when he's just come back from a huge injury. Fry and Rav are always in and out the team. And Edmondson, who's injured right now, it's impossible when you need 3 centre-halves to see how many of them guys already here can actually be trusted to play the number of games we'd need them to. So this brings hopefully a player that will be steady, will be available, and will be in the team. There are some very good, I guess, pros to his game as well. It's interesting that he is 27. It's interesting that we've got him on a 4-year deal. He's not the kind of project player we've been looking for, we've recruited for in recent years. Not going for a buy low and sell high sort of player here. You know, he's definitely one that is entering his prime. He's entering that stage of his career where he'll hopefully be at his peak. So Boro are getting a player here that they think is ready at the level to just do the job required. No bedding in period, no time to mature and develop. He is here for the here and now, and that is a very interesting type of signing. You know, Boro have done a lot of project signings over the last few seasons, so to see us bring in someone who we think is just ready to hit the ground running is really, really promising as well. It's good to hear that he's vocal. It's good to hear that he doesn't make many individual errors. That is something that Boro's defenders have been massively, massively culpable of doing over the last couple of seasons under Michael Carrick. That was down to, I think, as well, the type of football that they were being told to play. So maybe, along with Dale Fry and maybe Lenihan, Boro will not be playing out from the back as much, even though, to be fair, the pre-season friendlies so far say the contrary. They do suggest that we will still keep playing out from the back. I think maybe, you know, he's another defender who might not be the most comfortable with the ball at his feet. I don't know, but he doesn't make errors, which is good. He just seems and comes across as a solid signing. And that's all you want in defence for me. I'm not bothered about having a defender who's all that flashy, who's a flair player, who's technically gifted. I'd rather have a player that is just good at being a defender, because that's his job. And I feel like Alfie Jones will be a good defender, first and foremost, which is really, really good. An interesting possible worry, which I do agree with, is that he is more in the mould of Fry and Edmondson. Now, the two things that come to mind when I think of Fry and Edmondson is a lack of pace. Now, if Boro are looking to play a high line, as is mentioned here by Johnny, which has also been mentioned by Rob Edwards, if we're pushing up, there could be a lot of room in behind. And with the lack of pace, that's where we could be a little bit vulnerable. When we get turned over, they play the ball over the top in behind. Does he have the pace to recover? That's potentially a slight question mark and something teams could target if he is not the quickest. So that's something to bear in mind if he is playing either side of Dale Fry. I mean, he could be there to compete with Dale Fry as the centrepiece of a back three. Therefore, we don't have to worry about his pace so much. He might have bodies around him You know, if Rav was to stay, you'd like to think Rav would be on one side, Lenihan might be on the other, or maybe Alfie Jones. We don't know how Boro are going to set their back three up, but yeah, he's here. He's a player who I think will step in and do a good job, and he adds to the depth at centre-half, which, of course, is an issue we've had and have across pretty much the entirety of Boro's team. So, yeah, overall, I'm happy with this one. You know, it's a good start, albeit I don't feel good saying it's a good start when we're at the 25th of July, granted. So, of course, this doesn't rectify anything massively. It doesn't suddenly, U-turn how I feel about the upcoming season or Boro's expectations. As an isolated signing, I think it's a good one. I'm happy with it. Hull fans seem to, for the most part, rate him quite highly. They seem to have, be very, very full of praise for what he did there, which is always good to see. But of course, we are all very aware that there is still a ton of work to do behind the scenes in a vast majority of Boro's starting positions in the 11. So, although this is a start, there is still a ton of work to do, and we can only hope this will be the beginning of a flurry of signings for Boro. I'd like to think Kante will be here pretty soon. That will bolster the midfield, although we could still need another body or two in there. And of course, there are still a ton of other positions to look at as well. But with a fortnight to go, if next week can be a really strong one, with maybe 2 or 3 more, I will feel a lot calmer. I still feel like, just because of where we are relative to everyone else, we are behind. And I think it will take us a while to catch up now, if we even do catch up. But if we can get 2 or 3 more in next week, that would be, I think, a big, big step in the right direction once again. But let me know your thoughts on this signing in the comments. I'd be very intrigued if there's any Hull fans watching, what their thoughts are on Alfie Jones as well. And of course, if you're a Boro fan, I also want to hear massively from you on what you think of this signing. But until next time, guys, if you've enjoyed the video, do hit a like on the video, subscribe for more, of course, as always, and leave me your thoughts below. We'll obviously keep you up to date with everything that's happening on the Boro as we go. The weekend is here now, and I'm off to Rangers tomorrow, so do expect, hopefully, a matchday vlog over the weekend at some point, as well as my thoughts on the game in another Project Boro review video. So lots to continue coming as the season edges closer, but until then, take care, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.